KennedyShow.com. And we have a rather interesting race going on. There is an incumbent member of Congress that I believe should be removed and replaced with somebody else. That is Jamie Herrera Butler. She is what I consider a rhino, Republican in name only. She currently occupies Washington's 3rd congressional district, and I'm in that district, so I have a bit of a dog in the fight, but I would like to see her replaced. There are candidates, 2 major candidates, that are running to replace her, Joe Kent and Heidi St. John, who joins me now. Heidi, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Lars. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad to do it. Now, I want to talk about Ukraine and I want to talk about gun freedoms in a moment, but I want to put a question to you because a few weeks ago, we asked your opponent, Joe Kent, we said, look, will you do a debate? You and Heidi St. John debate each other, and we'll find out which one would be the best to replace Jamie Herrera Butler. We've also invited Congresswoman Herrera Butler on the show. She's been on before. She may come back again. That's fine. Joe Kent quickly said yes. We're having a tough time getting a yes from your campaign. Can you help me out with that?
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it. What I'd like to do is do an in-person debate, eyeball to eyeball, no notes. I want to be, I'm happy to do it. Let's do it for an hour. Let's do it for 2. Let's do it for 3. I just want to do it in person. Wherever that is, I'm happy to show up.
That's your desire. The problem is with our studios in downtown Portland, because of COVID and pandemic, and there's studios that I don't own. They're owned by a company, Alpha Media. I don't control them. We got a lot of complications there. We can't do it that way. Are you willing to do it by phone?
I really don't want to do it by phone. I really, really, really want to do it in person. I think it's important for very many reasons. I've done debates over my lifetime, and I just don't want to do it on the phone. I think we could do it in person. We could do it in Vancouver. We could do it. I mean, goodness, we can do it at my house.
So you're declining.
Can't we bring your stuff?
You're declining to do it.
I'm declining to do it on the phone. I'm not declining to do it.
Fair enough.
I'm happy to debate. I would like to do it in person.
That's all I wanted to find out because, we allow candidates when we set up a debate to set a certain number of criteria, but they can't dictate all of it. So I understand why you're declining, and that's sad. But in any case.
I'm not declining to debate. I'm declining to debate on the phone. I would like to debate in person.
Okay. Well, it's things you wish for and things you can get. Wish in one hand and spit in the other one and see which one fills up first.
Restrictions in Oregon.
What's that?
I just heard that Kate Brown's going to be dropping the COVID restrictions in Oregon.
Sure she is, but private companies are doing other things, and sometimes they're private companies that I don't own or control. So I just wanted to put the question to you and see what the answer is. I got the answer, and there we go. Let me ask you about the Ukrainians. Joe Biden said, we're going to support the Ukrainians, but we're not sending any troops there, nor do I want us to send troops there. And the Ukrainians seem to be putting up a pretty solid fight against Russia right now.
Yeah, well, they're doing that because they've got access to weapons. I think they've really surprised Putin. I think he was surprised that these people are going to want to defend their homeland. And it really sets the stage here for the argument in defense of the Second Amendment. We don't want to become Australia. We don't want to become Canada. It's very important for the people here to have access to weapons. And I think that's what you're seeing happen in Ukraine. I was on the phone actually on my podcast yesterday. I interviewed a gentleman who is living right now just outside of Kiev. He has a special needs son. They were not able to get out. I interviewed him in between mortars dropping in their neighborhood. And he was telling me that the people there have a will of steel, that they are a sovereign nation, and they're going to defend their nation. They have every right to do so. I support the Ukrainians 100%.
Did you watch Joe Biden's State of the Union address last night?
No, I didn't. I was actually at an event in Kalama, but I sure have been hearing a lot about it today. It's hard for me to watch that guy. You have to watch with one eye closed.
You do, and you have to get out your secret decoder ring because he actually said he was standing with the Iranian people. Apparently, he thinks Russia is invading Iran. But Joe's just got. But what seems screwy to me is to say he's standing up for the Ukrainian people who are now fighting for their own freedom, and then later in the speech said, "But I want to take away a bunch of American gun rights. I want to disarm Americans and take things away from them." Because he thinks of gun rights as something that has something to do with deer hunting, which you can also hunt deer with a gun. I've done it myself, but it's not the primary reason. The primary reason is defense against a tyrannical government, whether foreign or domestic.
Yeah, that's right. And that's exactly what the founding fathers knew when they wrote the Second Amendment in the first place, they weren't afraid of us fighting each other necessarily. They came from a tyrannical government, and they wanted us to be able to defend ourselves. And this is why I brought up Australia and Canada. As soon as these countries give up their guns, they're nothing but sitting ducks for a tyrannical government. And what have we seen in the last 2 years? We've seen tyranny in our government, COVID tyranny. But if we think for 1 second these guys wouldn't institute other kinds of tyranny, we don't understand what we're up against. This is why the left wants to disarm the American people. We can never let this happen. Listen, I have my concealed weapons permit. I've had it for a long time. I am carrying whenever it's possible because I want to be able to defend myself. As a woman, I want to be able to defend myself. I want to be able to defend my children if that becomes necessary. We have to defend the Second Amendment for many, many reasons in this country. And really, they don't have anything to do with whether or not we're going to go deer hunting.
No, we don't. And the fact is, I see what Joe Biden's trying to do, although one of the little bright spots is that even when the Democrats controlled Congress when Barack Obama was president, they didn't get any significant gun legislation passed, nor did they get any with Joe Biden in the White House and Democrats at least, in close control of both the House and the Senate. But I know they're not going to stop trying.
No, they're not going to stop trying. And as long as they have control of both houses of Congress and the executive branch of our government, we can't put anything past them. We've got to start being very, very vigilant. You see what's happening here in Washington State, what's coming out of Olympia. These people want to disarm the American people. And we've got to start talking and keep talking even louder about why the Second Amendment is there in the first place. And everywhere we look around the world right now, we are seeing case in point after case in point. And what we see happening in Ukraine, I mean, it's a tragedy, really. It's a human tragedy. They got a thug over there in Russia who wants to expand his power and invade a sovereign nation. And we're watching these people stand for their right to exist. They're going to defend their homeland. They're going to defend their families. They have every right to do that, and we need to maintain that right here in the United States.
Heidi, you want to tell people where they can find you on social media if they're interested in helping your campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me pretty much everywhere online. I'm lit up on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me at Heidi St. John for Congress.
Very good. Heidi, thank you very much.
Lars, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.